Hey, how are you? What time it is? Um, In case you know, you know, you see about a minute, you can listen to Jimmy yak about things. Well, gee, say what I'm so disturbed with these university uprisings with the Hamas-driven, anti-Semitic. Terrible, yeah. Everyone stands around anti-Semitic. That's okay. Kick around the Jewish people. People have been doing it for 3,000 years. You know why? Because the have-nots hate the have. It's as simple as that. My mother told me when I was 10 years old. The have-nots hate the haves, meaning the people that have stuff, the have-nots want it. They don't want to necessarily work for it. All over the world, it's all over South America, Asia, you know, and there are only so many societies where, you can get born into having money. In other words, your ancestors, your parents. Your parents did real well. They pass away and they leave it to you. They leave you a farm, a ranch, cattle, corn, you name it. And all of a sudden you're in business. Well, of course, you've been in business with your parents because you've been breaking the soil along with the ranch hands if you're, you know, in the middle of the country. I very early days in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. For those of you that know Honesdale, it's, uh, it's about 100 miles west of New York City. Almost, you drive it almost directly, maybe a little south and west. I remember I was a young little whippersnapper when we went to Hoonsdale, Pennsylvania, and this cattle ranches, horses and cattle. Oh my God! When I was like 12, maybe 11, 12, they they put me on a horse, black and white horse. They called it Checkers. You can just imagine, big black and white patches all over this horse. Looked like a checkerboard. So they called the horse Checkers, and it was like a low riding horse, low riser. So I could get on the horse and I feel like I was 15 feet in the air. So I get on Checkers. They're telling me how to hold you know the leather straps, to pull up on a ho, go on horse. Kick the horse in the side. I was not interested in doing much kicking. I was a scaredy cat. It was my first time on a horse. I, I'll bet I was 11. I was a little whippersnapper at 11. Blonde hair, blue eyed. Who was that little kid with the slingshot? TV show. Always getting into trouble with Mr. Wilson. Oh, boy. I look just like that little kid. Maybe you guys can text it to me and let me remind me. And that Anyway, so I'm sitting up on top of Checkers, and there's a lady that's the the ride trainer. I'm not sure what you call that person, but she was experienced in riding horses. She had this horse camp. I'll call it a camp. I'm sitting up on top of Checkers. She's explained to me, and there's like a whole little, there's like a bunch of us, all like lined up behind her. Said, Jimmy, you get over here with me, right behind me, and we're just gonna walk down. We're just gonna nice, gently kick your feet in on the sides a little bit. You got your feet in the stirrups. We got you all figured out, so you have your stirrups and your feet, and we're bouncing along, just walking. A little bit of a bounce on my horse. Seems like I'm trying to figure out how to hold on to this sucker. Oh lordy, a little goofy on the balance. You got this huge animal underneath you, and wouldn't you know it? After about 5 minutes of that, I said, "Hey, this isn't too bad. Maybe I could get used to this. I have to get used to this because I'm going to be here for 3 months. Your parents drop you off to camp, horse camp. I've heard of cattle floating around there too. Anyway, it's horse camp. You got this beautiful green rolling hills. Woodville, Pennsylvania. There's probably a parking lot now, but anyway, so we're riding along and bumping along. I'm figuring, how do you get balanced on this sucker? I'm moving around. The horse every once in a while looks back at me like, what are you doing, boy? Just settle down and ride. Anyway, so I'm riding this horse. Oh, God, wouldn't you know it? It got stung in the ass by a bee. Bam! That horse took off. And holy crap. So, I immediately reached my arms all the way down, and I'm hugging the horse by the neck, and I'm leaning over. I got the saddle horn, right in my stomach, because I'm leaning over. Hold up, you get these these things you're supposed to pull back on. I'm just saying, oh crap, this guy is going like 40 miles an hour. I think, oh lordy, that sucker ran for like 20 minutes. By the time the camp horse director, head lady, she was on the front horse. Well, I became the front horse, and she's got like 5 other students, campers, and there's Jimmy. He said, and then the Checkers, he jumps over the rail. Holy crap! This is the first time I've been on a horse. We're going like 35, 40 miles an hour. He leaps right over the fence. These with the 3 wooden bars, and it just look like what you see in the movies. And so she's trying to figure it out. I learned later that she was trying to do whatever she could to try to catch up to me. But Checkers was a fast little horse. And when they put Jimmy on it, got stung in the butt by a bee. And he was like white lightning. Oh my lord! So they finally caught. I didn't fall off because I figured I'd fall off. I'm going to be, I'm going to roll over my head. This horse is going to step on me or something. I figured I got to stay on this horse. So I figured out how to stay on the horse. I was hugging its neck, and I'm sure the horse is, smarter than I was. And I figured, all right, let's see if we can give this kid a break. He slows down to a mere 20 miles an hour. He got this big welt on his butt. Woo! the horse camp lady, she finally caught up to me. She said, "Oh, Jimmy, how you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm a little worn out actually, trying to hold on to the sucker, but yeah, I'm really glad I could see somebody because he jumped over the. Oh Lord, that's my first ride on a horse, so it took me a few years before I get back on a horse. Oakdale, Pennsylvania. It's an unforgettable experience at 11 years old, let me tell you. And that was, quite a while ago. I would not forget that. Sir, that was, woo! Producer, give me that splitter. You got that stuff over there, and you got Jimmy over here, so they can know that I'm with them. Wow. Woo, I get all agitated inside thinking about that. Uh, well, anyway, I mean, last night, oh, jeez, I got woken up by this, by the 1 a.m. riots you in Los Angeles, Palestinians, taking over that university down there. What a mess. And they had all kinds of, trying to look through my little book of pictures. Do I have something with LA? Yeah, geez, that was, yeah, ah, it's really, the Israel Hamas war protesters and police clash in Texas. Texas, they're not going to tolerate any of this. Austin is the only spot where there's any possibility of, you know, these Israeli Hamas. We let in. Oh, there's Jimmy on his, his new bicycle back in 2019. Jim W. 2019. This is pretty neat. See right in the middle here? That's a lithium ion battery. And in the hub, inside this hub, you can see that is a 350-watt electric assist. So you rotate this little handlebar thingy right there. It's got like a turn handle, almost like a motorbike, just like a motorbike. But instead of it being gas, and and let me tell you, 350 watts, that'll throw you up to 24, 25 miles an hour pretty quick, according to this little gauge here over on the side. You got your rear view mirrors, and you got two sets of hand brakes, front wheel and back wheel brakes. They're real nice brakes. You can see their front disc brake. Imagine. Used to have the calipers that would run along the side of the wheel. This is a disc brake. It's there. A couple $1,000 a copy. Remember, I got the super duper 16 ampere hour battery. The electrical system runs 48 volts. I got two big batteries. Or, the Maryland one. Two black. See the Velec, VELEC. Yeah, made in Canada, I believe. So they make them in Canada. It's all this. I don't know, you can see the way the welding is done. See the welds, curved tube here, so it's like a unisex design. So it's easy to step off the bike on either side and set in the head. voice back where you like oh, yours. Convenient. The basket was in the front. I unscrewed the basket and I put it in the rear. There was, a bracket that was back there, and I used those tie ties, you know, tied it real tight along there and snipped them off. So you didn't have, the end sticking out. That basket ain't going anywhere. And it was too weird having the basket in the front. You turn your wheel like this and you got this stuff in the front side. I put it in the back. I said, "Now, how about you? You want your basket in the back?" And I put hers in the back also. And it's got a little red tool bag in there, so you put your stuff. And if you stop off and have there's a little chain in there with a lock, so you could ride up to somewhere and have a lunch, a bite to eat, and you can lock your bikes together, and a pole, so people don't run off with your bikes. The battery lock's in place, so you can't get the battery out of there. The key. It's, you know, we got them in our guest bedroom, and go off the couch and go take a ride on the weekends, or maybe 6:30 in the evening, tired out from our bank. Anyway, that's Jimmy. What is ride around with a little ID thing so that we can ride right up into the Boca Resort property. They have a back gate that opens up right near where we live. Right in there, you got private property. You don't have a lot of traffic. Beautiful scenery. Ride up around that property 3 or 4 times, you get 10 miles of riding, and see many cars floating around there because usually people get dropped off, with Uber and all that. They come in, circular driveway, drop off, and the car goes right straight front. We don't have a lot of cars rolling around over the place. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about the Tesla software. The big news there is Tesla Vision. They got 8 cameras all the way around. We got a new Tesla, turned in our old one. Not that old, it was 2021, June of 2021. Got our first one this June, which we haven't gotten to yet, right? It's just May. The Tesla had a special deal. Called me on the phone or texted me, I think it was, head of the southeast of he's in charge of Florida. Sean, I think. Miss Wilson, how you doing? I said, I'm doing really good. Well, I'm the regional. I'm in charge of the state of Florida for Tesla, and we got a special deal for you. I said, really? What's that? He said, we'll let you turn in your car 2.5 months early. So turn off your auto pay on the car you have, and just pay one more payment. And April and May will waive. If you turn your car in early, you got to pay the payments right up to the end. But we're going to make you a special deal. We're going to pick up the April and May payment. You pay like half of March. Yeah. And we'll get you a new one. And he said, boy, the new ones are so much different than the one you're driving now. The ride is so much smoother. I said, come on, you're in the car business. He said, no, you will be surprised the difference. We have tweaked the suspension and the wheels, the rubber, the everything. This car is so much different. You get in the car, it looks exactly the same. You walk up around the side of the car, it looks the same. Until someone points out the differences to you, you probably wouldn't notice. And I said, okay, let's do it. I called Maryland up and sent her a text. I said, they got a special deal. They're going to put us in a new car in the next 21 days. How about that? And they'll pay the last two payments on the thing, the car, on the lease, the lease payments, and um, they'll give us 500 hours worth of damage, excess wear. They'll give us 500 hours worth of excess wear allowance. I said, well, that's good too, because you know we got a little dent on the side of the car, not a big one, a little one. Someone wanged it with a golf ball real hard, you know, almost like they shot the car with a golf ball. Put a dent in there. Oh my god! So you have to take 24 pictures all the way around the car. You got to put a quarter in the tread of the tire, show that you got tread on your tires. Okay, so it'll take about 24. You got to take a picture in the front, this side. You got to open up the doors, take a picture of the interior, the leather seating, make sure that's not ripped and worn. I guess we'll take care of it. Anyway, I mean, it was other than that dent on the side, which was very annoying. It's on the driver's side, and every time I walk around and open up the door, I see that dent, and I go, "Oh God!" Happened about 10 months ago. Anyway, so the car is like super, super smooth. Uh, it is so amazing to you. Got to have to, you got to plan your life just a little tiny bit. We live in a multifamily building, and uh, Dr. Brian, and he's a couple apartments away. Nice doctor. He's a concierge emergency service medical doctor. And I noticed this is before we got the first one, April, May. And I noticed, because we had a Toyota Corolla, I believe, and it was coming up on, so we needed to do something by June. So this is May, and I'm riding up in the parking garage. We're on the third level. Brian is on the second level. And I said, Dr. Brian, I happened to see him in the hallway coming up on the elevator. And I said, Dr. Brian, I said, I noticed you got there's a wire, with a conduit and everything and plug. That's right. That's right next to your car. And I might have noticed that you had your car plugged in there charging. He said, absolutely. I went to the building manager and I said, he said, I want a plug put in there. And they charged me, a couple $1,000 to put the plug in there, and they put the plug in there. So whenever I need a charge, I just plug it in, with the cables on the car. Plugs in overnight, and it's got a full tank of fuel. The batteries, a tank of gas, it's got a full tank of fuel. Using some of these terms used to learning, with a gasoline tank of gas, right? Full tank of fuel. So I said, is there a possible way that you let me plug in when when you're not plugged in? But you don't plug in every night, right? He said, no, I work on Model Road, so I don't have a big drive. So, once or twice a week I plug in, depending on where I'm going or not going. I said, well, if you don't mind sharing that plug with me, it's your plug. So if I'm plugged in and you need it, you just unplug me and plug you in. And just send me a text. And I texted him my phone number. I said, just text me back, and, and tell me that you've unplugged me so I can go get my cable and lock it in the trunk because I don't want my cable to get legs in the middle of the night. There's people roam around back here and lose their cable. And so the charging wire is a couple $100. He said, not a problem. If you're plugged in and I need it, I'll unplug you and then I'll let you know. You can grab your wire and put it back in your back in the car. Perfect. Well, this is 3 years later. It's worked out just fine. Once a week, we can usually figure out how to plug in. And if we need a little extra fuel because Marilyn's making a trip to West Palm and she's only got a half a tank of fuel, and sometimes she's got to go to the supercharger station that Tesla has uh, in the second story of the Neiman Marcus. I'm going to call it the Neiman Marcus garage. I don't know what they call it. There's actually a gym also on that second level. Not something, I don't know. They got 12 places to plug in. So, you know, maybe twice a month we'll plug into the supercharger. Times a month we're plugged into the, what do you call it? Never run it down lower than like 20%. And we'll charge it up to about 85%. So if you got a 310-mile battery, you basically charge it up to like 280, 285 miles. I'm just going to talk range. So the full range on the battery is 310 miles, which is like 85 kilowatt battery. But let's just use miles instead of this kilowatt stuff. That confuses everybody. So you got let's just round it down, 300-mile battery, charge it up to 280, leave the top 20, the top 15% of the battery alone, and we don't discharge it, below 15%. So it's about 30% of the battery. Top 15%, the bottom 15%. That's 15, 15, 30. So if you got a 300-mile battery, you use about 200 miles. Charge it up, charge it down, up, down. When you go into a gas station, you don't go in with an empty tank. There's always something in there. You should. Every once in a while, you run in there with fumes. But that's not the way you want to do it normally because that'll make you know, too much stress. And now you generally fill it up, you know, all the way, but you don't run it down all the way. Well, with electric, on an everyday basis, you don't want to charge. You don't want to go. You can go to 100. You can charge it all the way up if you're going on a trip. It's not that you can't charge it all the way up. You just say, look, if it's just a daily driving, somewhere between 80 and 90% is, you know, you charge it up there. Leave the top 10%. Don't just charge it below, 10%. So, pushing it a little bit. So you got the bottom 10, the top 10, that's 20. 20 from 300 is 280. So that's about it. You get about 280 miles of range, up and down, up and down. Well, Marilyn, she goes to work, takes Brandon to work, next, so that's probably a 10-mile, maybe a 12-mile commute. 8 miles to get back and forth from work. But we add another 4 or 5 miles because she'll pick up and deliver maybe Brennan to work, save him a little Uber dollars. So 4 times a week she'll say move hours. 1 time a week she can't because she's got a meeting in the night or a meeting in the morning or whatever. And you'll just have to back and forth Uber, which is today, as a matter of fact. So that's 20 hours each way Uber and to go back and forth to work. Anyway, so we're enjoying the Tesla. The whole electric experience is really, I mean, not having to go into those stinky gas stations. And, the people that charge up, a little classier crowd, hanging around the superchargers. You got a bunch of Tesla folks. When Ford and General Motors and Mercedes and all these finally come around to building electric cars, which is not at the moment, it's, they haven't figured out how to make them, affordably. Tesla with their factories, if you see their factories, they are really something to behold. Automation in those factories is like 95%. And you can fine tune, these computer robots that are, installing the side panels and the top panels and this and that. And it's just, to see these cars get assembled in the Tesla factory is a treat. My grandfather was a mechanical engineer. He would, he would have just loved to have seen this kind of mechanization. Ford came up with the assembly line. Well, Mr. Elon Musk re-engineered the assembly line into, you know, mega massive factory, and they fine-tuned the blueprints. He's got 4 factories around the globe now. He's got one in China and one in Europe, and he's got 2 in the United States. One in Fremont, California. That's his first. Used to be an old GE, I think General Electric, and Chevrolet, General Motors, had like a joint venture in Fremont, California. Anyway, so, and he got one in Austin Fort. Speculation has it, I think Elon Tesla, they already broken down on their next plant, the 5th one, which is somewhere in Mexico, and they're sniffing around up in Canada. Maybe they'd put one up there somewhere, over towards, over towards, the northeast states, make it a little easier to deliver cars to, the eastern part of Canada and, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That makes sense. 95% automated, so it's not so much he's looking um, for cheap labor. He's looking for a good real estate deal because you need probably 1,000 acres to deal with Tesla factory and the expansion capability and the parking lots and everything. Back 1,000,000 cars a year. Car stage and them on some kind of transportation. Get cars delivered to the people that are buying them. So it's a big, it's a huge operation just getting the cars out of the factory into the hands of buyers. So they have service centers all over. So they usually deliver them to the parking lot of service center near you, uh, which is what they did in our case. The first one we had delivered to the Fort Lauderdale Service Center. And since then, I think they've added one in Delray, the Federal Highway, that automobile section. And I think they took over a Honda dealership, which moved into a bigger new facility. And took over the old Honda dealership and the Tesla service center. And that's how they deliver the cars. Just drove up to the Tesla dealership in Delray, cleaned up the car, handed it over to them, two card keys, no keys, the card thingy. Oops. Oh, that's right. I took it out. It's in here. It's in this little package. It's thin. Yeah. I have one in my back pocket. So your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. Your key. They say that 1,000 times. No, that's your phone is your key. Your iPhone here's the key. This is the card you buy the car. See? That's on there. It's a black card. Little letters on it. It's exactly the shape as a credit card. Whoop, there it is right there. You tap it right on the column between the front wheel, the front window and the back window. Oh, you tap it right on there. It shows you where you tap it. See, that would see, tap the card. I love it. That opens the door, unlocks the door, and it will lock the door. You tap it one time, the car honks its horn once, I think, and the car's unlocked. You get in, you take the car and you put it down on the console where the cups are, cup holders, and that permits you to put it in drive, put it in reverse. There's no starting the car because it's electric. Just basically, you put that key card down in the middle console behind the two cup holders, lay it there, and then the screen invites you to make your iPhone the key. And so, oops, they tell you to download the app. Everything's on app now. So you download the app, which there, I think C on it. There's the B, and there's the app bar. I can show you on the screen because I was a smart, wise guy. The, so I have the same app on. I'm a bed. Let's do it on there. It's easier. So they want you to keep the app open all the time on your phone because your phone is your key. So here's the car. It's sitting right there and wiggling it. 208 miles of range. You can see that. Producer, give them full screen on that one. There's three of us running this operation here. The stagehand, we got a producer, and we have the talent. I'm supposed to be the talent. And the other two guys, we got me, myself, and I. So I kind of do everything around. So there's the Tesla app, and I can scroll up, and you can see we have controls. Controls. See, here's the car, and I can turn on the air conditioner. But I'm not going to do it. Parked in Maryland's parking lot. How do I know? I can touch this right here, and you see where it is. That red arrow tells you exactly where the car is. It has its own geosynchronous next to the 12 satellites, so it knows exactly where the car is at all. And so do we. So we can see it. Marilyn knows where it is because she parked it there. I'm trying to figure out, well, where's the car? I can see where it is. Right in front of one of those bank buildings that she works in. Yep, 2300 Glades Road. Seacoast Bank. And look at that. Chargers nearby. See, 4/10 of a mile. There's 12 stalls, and 0 of 12 are available, and there's a 5-minute wait. Because, lunchtime is pretty active with these chargers. More and more people are getting Teslas. So, I mean, it shows you every Tesla charger, uh, for 30 miles. It's super. So if you're going north, oops, so here we go. Here's the- yeah, you're going to head north in Deerfield. They got them in Delray. They got them in Atlanta, which is 6.5 miles away from where she is right now. There are 8 stalls available out of 16. That's a big one. Charging stations, a new one. Pompano, there's only one at 7 available. Another one in Delray. 13 available out of a total of 18. That's a that's a big one. They're, they're, they're making the newer stations more stalls in them, more charging. You always see that was this 8, there's another 16 each Lantana, 12, Foothills Sunrise is 16 stations. I'm just looking at the home. Ventura, they have 35, 11 of 35 available. It's 41E of the parking garage. Imagine 35 stalls. What ones in Florida? 18 is big. Miami Beach. Miami. Oh, oh, Okobe. Ochobe. Ochope. Probably like Opa-locka. Anyway, the nice thing about this app is if you're going to need a charge, it tells you where they are. If you have a charging thing, at home, you just plug in there. But if you're going, you're going to go on a little road trip, it'll tell you exactly, they have a big screen in there where you can put in the address of where you're going, and it'll map out just like a Google Maps kind of thing, but it's a little more attractive, you and easier to deal with than having the Google Maps on your phone. If you got this big screen, you divide it in half, up tap, all your driver controls and visualization of your car with the other cars on the highway. And the right half is where you have your maps. So if you need roadside assistance, you go here. Look, you got a flat tire, drivability concerns. You tell them what, you got a flat tire, you just say, so wheels and tires, alternate wheels and tires. So, and they'll run right out to you. They'll tell you how long it'll take. Flat tire, drivability concern. Let's check that one. Shut down while driving. Oh, you don't want that. Whoop, power on. You have an accident. Or is heating and air conditioning issue? And we've never used this because we haven't had, how many service requests we've had in the 3 years with the other car? Zero. We never had to drive in for any service. It doesn't require any service because battery and the powertrain, four-wheel drive, motor in the front, motor in the rear, it's electric. So there's no radiator. There's no water heater. There's no oil. There's no oil filters. There's no air filters. There's none of that stuff you got to replace. So, matter of fact, I got a hold of Tesla one time and I said, is there anything I need to do with service? If a light comes on, it tells you need X or Y. He said, no, there's nothing. There's nothing we can see that your car needs. I said, oh, really? How do you know that? He said, because I'm looking at the diagnostics of your car as we're on the phone. He said, you are? I said, you are? He said, yeah, I see your diagnostics right here. He goes, we can look at you car as we're speaking on the phone. So I know, your car's in great shape. And you don't need to come in here for anything. I said, my God. I said, so unless something lights up and tells me to take it into you, I just don't, right? He said, that's right. We probably won't see you. You can come in and say hi if you want. Can you imagine? Drove the car for 3 years, never needed any kind of service. Didn't need any service. We only drove it 20,000 miles in 3 years. We had a 30,000 mile lease, so we turned the car in with 10,000 miles of it, still available, so to speak, under the lease that we had, which they just get the car back. If if we were keeping the car, which you can't, they tell you, yeah, sorry, you can't keep the car. You got to turn it back. I said, really? Yeah, yeah. We clean them up and you know sell them somewhere, South America. I forget what he said. What they do? They put them in a fleet and they rent them out, uh, or they let other people rent them out. They didn't really have a real clear answer on what they do with the car, but I could not buy the car at the end of the lease. I think they would let me extend the lease. I needed 3 more months to make my mind up. They'd allow me to keep driving it for 3 months, keep making the payments, which runs about 600 a month, by the way, with the current money factor on a 30,000 mile lease. 3 years, 600 a month, no money down, except to pay for transportation and the taxes, which ran 1,300 plus 1,350 plus about 6,550. So it's just about $2,000 lease a $50,000 car. I think the car was 52,000, 52.5. Come to think of it, and they gave us a $2,500 discount price adjustment. I said, "Oh, that's nice." And they gave you a $7,500 tax credit. So they just took 7,500 and put it in the lease. Credit, so you divide that by 36. It's about $200 a month. So without that tax credit, it would have been an $800 lease instead of 600. That's what that $7,500 tax credit. How that works. Um, the way that if we bought the car, we would apply the tax credit to our next year's tax return. So in a sense, you're kind of like out of pocket until you do your taxes, and you end up with a tax credit of 7,500. You have a lease in which they keep title. Tesla financing keeps title. Transfers from the Tesla factory company to Tesla leasing company, which is an affiliate of Tesla Inc. So they sell the car to the leasing subsidiary, and then we make the payments to Tesla Finance. And that's all in the app. It's all automated. It's in the app. The app I showed you. This, and we go to financing. Right on the bottom here, click financing. If you can look around, $604 a month. Auto pay next May 18th. And here's the payment history. And just click that. March and April. March 17, April 18. It's 17, 18 a month. That checking account. Preferences. Manage auto pay. Oh, yeah. See, there we go. I think I can hit this little carrot here. Yeah, look at that. I got two different checking accounts. I got it coming out of that one, which is where my Social Security check gets auto deposited. Let's go right there. Transfer money. So that's what's happening with that. I have like a $3,000 Social Security check, and 600 comes out of that. So 3,000 in, 100 out. Keep the rest buying groceries. Anyway, that's what I have the phone. You buy the phone, you buy the car on the phone, you turn the car on the phone or your iPad. I mean, it's like crazy. Everything is like automated on the phone. Can you imagine? What a world we live in. They don't have any dealerships, so you just do it on the phone. You don't have to talk to anybody. You're not going to get a worse price. You're going to get the best price they can deliver for. Which we can go to the. Let's see that one of these other ones. Like this is the Tesla company. So here, you want to order one? It's all set to Model Y. You can have order now. You can watch this. We got a full screen mode. So you can really see this one. There's the cash price. We want long range all wheel drive. You just click that button instead of that button. And you see how the mileage changed? 260 miles to the regular battery with rear wheel motor only. 0 to 60 and see that's 6.6 seconds. You can expand over this reverse pinch. Well, why? We want long range. So these, there you go. See that? Hit this one. End up with 310 miles. Remember I said that? Top speed 135. 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. 4.8 seconds. In a lease. Let's get rid of that gas savings business. That's annoying to see that. All right. What color paint we want? We want solid black. Little stick so you can get those wheels, and it shows you what those wheels look like. They have a different view. Let's see. There you go. See, that's that wheel. Oops. Now we're gonna go over here. It's the regular wheel. Now we went with that wheel. Probably because we didn't want to pay the $2,000. Let's add the tow hitch. Or let's remove that. You said you can add it later for $1,000. Go to the service center. We want the white interior. What a difference that makes, especially in Florida. See how the white seats are? They even show you. See the car, the way it looks with the white seats. You gotta unreverse pinch this. There we go. There you go. You see the 5-seat interior. You can get 7-seat interior if you want the third row. You know. Full self-driving, 8K. No thank you. You want a wall connector or you want the regular mobile wire? We got the wire from the other car. We don't need a sunshade or a center console. Right? So let's continue and get it so we're May and June, which is, you know, they got a car available now in Delray Beach. Now let's review the order. You know what? This is like a pretend. We're not actually going to order it. I'm just showing. Show details. There we go. 47,990. Solid black, white interior. Everything else is included. So the lease is $51,000, which is 1,000 more than they said it would be. It expired like March 31. Savings here. So it comes up to $475 a month lease, and that is assuming you put 1,000 down. Then let's bring that down to two. Now it's 50. That other number. There we go. A little demonstration here on the buying a Tesla online. And you want to pay with Apple Pay or do you want to use your credit card? uh, maybe $506 a month. Plus, you got to add about $40 worth of sales tax. You want to see what the order agreement looks like? You just touch the order agreement. There's the Tesla order agreement, just like that. Not much paperwork on that. And just hit the back button and terms of use. Another document. The payment, vehicle charging policy, uh, congestion fees. Pay per use supercharging. We do. Some people, a few years ago, got free supercharging for the life of your car. It's in the early days. Fleet API subscription terms, whatever. Licenses. Yeah, just things you got to do. You got to have properly licensed. You have to have proper insurance and all this. It's a pretty long document. All right, back. There you go. To share or not to share, you're in the driver's seat. This will put you in control over what, what vehicle data you are willing to share. We give them all the data they want. Yeah, them develop the car. What the heck? They have, they have a cell system that's in the car. It's not the cell system that you can talk on. It's got its own cellular data line. That's built into the car. You don't pay for it. That's what it connects them to Fremont or California, so they know where the car is at any point in time. And driver road data can go back to them um, in case the roads are slightly different than what they think they are. So the road data that the car delivers is a lot more what they call granular than the visual data they have. From the satellite that's 44,000 miles. So driving data that these cars send back to Fremont servers is a lot more granular. They use that word granular. I always thought of granular with regard to salt and pepper. And mapping data that the Tesla gets from the 8 cameras around the cars, where the lines are, according to the geosynchronous information they have, because you got satellite telemetry that's your car is connected to up to 12 geosynchronous satellites that triangulate on your vehicle at all times. So that triangulation, puts the car on, the map the way they think it should be. Cars are constantly driving over a certain way because the way the lines are painted. They'll actually adjust their maps they're more granular. It's really quite, there's a lot of stuff going on. And a couple of huge server farms in California. Probably have one in Europe and they have one in China and one in Texas. Big server farms that get all this data, and they've got a whole building full of people that do nothing but work on the software to drive the car. So, if you're driving down a road and you're kind of slipping over out of the lane, it'll bring you back into the lane. It's really quite amazing. It won't let you cross the lane unless you put your signal on. So, I mean, you can, really tug the wheel and force it. But the car wants you to stay in the middle of the road, in the middle of the lanes. If you had your autopilot on, then you loosen your hands. You still have to have your hand on the wheel, and let the car drive itself, and it will take you to your location, wherever you want to go. Which that's kind of so if you enter in where you're going, the car will take you there. And they call it autopilot supervised. It's not beta; they just call it supervised. Now, one day they're going to have this is level 2, call it L2 autopilot, which means supervised. Level 3, um, it'll basically drive itself, but you still have a brake and a steering wheel. Level 4, it drives itself, and you don't need brakes and driving and steering wheel. It'll it'll take you. In other words, the software is so perfected that you can turn around. Your seat can be on a swivel, and you can be just chatting with the people in the vehicle because the vehicle will take you where you want to go. It'll stop. It'll start. It'll keep you moving in traffic, whatever. That's level 4. But level 2 and 3, it's autopilot. You're assisting the car for proper vehicle control. Level 2 means a little more individual interaction with the vehicle. Level 3 is a little more automated, and you don't necessarily have to have your hand on the steering wheel, but you have to watch. You have to post proper watch because in case the software is not exactly accurate enough to keep the car in the center of the road, or so it doesn't take an exit that you don't want to take. You can get control of the car, or a faster route than what the map decided for you. Well, the mapping system and the timing for all that is pretty good. You won't have to take control of your car to save time because the car has all the driving data. They just added another feature to maps. So if you have cameras, speed cameras that some of these municipalities put on the highways to track your speed, and give you tickets on an automated basis. Because it snaps a picture of your car. It says, you're going 80 in a 65. They send you a ticket, and it has a picture. It zeroes right in on the windshield. And then another camera takes a picture of your license tag, and it automatically gets billed to your account. And if you don't pay it, it becomes a tax lien. And they put a warrant on the rest. I think you got about 6 weeks to pay the fine. So don't speed. But in your Tesla, so you can, with the autopilot, you can say go 6 miles an hour over the speed limit. 65. So if it's 65, it'll go 70. If the speed limit is 70, it'll go 75. I think I have it set so it'll go 5 miles over the limit. That's it. Now you can go faster than that, but we're talking about autopilot. And if you go over those limits, the car will chime. It'll have a little chime on it just to remind you that you're going over the speed limits that you set, you established how many miles an hour over the limit you wanted to go. It's pretty hard pressed if the policeman pulls you over going 5 miles over the limit. 45 and 40, really, they're going to pull you over? You're going to 70 and 65? I don't think so. They want you to be going either 15 miles an hour over the limit or 25 miles over the limit. 25 miles an hour over the limit. And they can bang you for that 400 horsepower. I don't do that. But, I'm not crazy. All right, so took you down a little story about the car. Mhm. This is what our drones look like. They're stealth drones. Notice there's no pilot. This is a jet drone. No propeller in the back. It's a jet engine in there. And when it wants to drop a bomb or other rockets, things fold out of the bottom. It's pretty amazing. Of course, combat drone. That's I have a picture of that. Might talk about it. Here's SpaceX. Here's the booster when it boosted and took the astronauts up to the space station. This is stage one. Remember, and there's a stage on the top. Well, it disconnected, and this piece, fell back to Earth. These engines fired up again and took it back to Earth. Steered it back. Here's a drone ship. This thing's floating around in the Atlantic or Pacific. He painted, yes, Elon. So he painted a bullseye on the drone ship. You got ring one and ring two, and the target right in the middle, like if you were gonna, on a shooting range. Well, he gets it inside that inner circle now. Almost perfectly lands. These ships, have prop jets, prop uh, pumps, motor pumps, all four corners of this drone ship, and it is locked into a geosynchronous position with GPS positioning. So that ship is not just floating adrift; it is locked in a certain part of the Atlantic Ocean. So the computer system that SpaceX has, which is expensive, will see where that drone ship is. See electronically, it knows exactly where that drone ship is. They positioned it a couple of 100 miles off the coast of Florida, for example. Now they're going to recoup the the last mission. They let the booster just crash into the ocean because they needed all the fuel. They didn't have any room for extra fuel. The payload was robust. It had four astronauts in it and 8,000 pounds worth of cargo in the container that was essentially connected to the Dragon capsule. So it needed all the fuel to get to get that package into the geosynchronous orbit that the uh, space station floating around the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour. Actually, not a geosynchronous, but it's a positioned orbit, a specific orbit. And this first, first, first stage rocket would blast it up through the atmosphere for the first minute, a minute and 5 seconds of the flight. Then the main engine cut off, and then mid stage from the second stage engine then ignites. This engine reignites and lands itself. It's got thrusters on the top and the bottom, um, gas thrusters, not oxidized, with liquid oxygen. And the engine in the back is, what was used anyway. So they didn't have enough fuel to be able to land it back, and they got 20 flights out of that one rocket. They had 19, and then this last one was 20, and they used all of the energy to get that sucker up in the orbit, to get it positioned for orbit insertion. And then the second stage rockets do the rest of the work, get it up to the space station, and get it going 17,000 miles an hour around the Earth, in the same direction that the space station is going, 17,000 miles an hour. And it's not quite a polar orbit, but it's similar. Anyway, so they let the first stage just crash back into the ocean because this was the 20th use. And they say the useful life of these boosters is about 20 missions. And by then, it's 2 or 3 years later and the engines have been redesigned. So they just, instead of putting new engines in there, they just let it go. Whereas NASA, every time they had a launch, they let them go. They, they didn't think of putting a little extra fuel in there and using some very sophisticated software and have the booster land itself back where it took off from. Every time that happens, all the NASA engineers look down like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. They land themselves, and we were crashing them into the ocean. This $300 million booster. Yeah, we'll just build another one. It's taxpayer money. SpaceX says, hey, save that sucker. It cost me $300 million for a new one. Let's land it back, and that way the mission is only cost us $60,000 a mission, to clean it up and refuel it instead of $300 million. It's only $65 million because we're going to reuse the rocket. Makes sense, right? You get in your car and you drive to Publix. You don't throw the car away and get another one. You keep on reusing the car. Missions here to there. Get on an airplane and fly to Chicago. They don't trash the plane. They clean it up, refuel it, put it back in the air so that they can fly it then to Texas for the next flight. Planes take off and land all the time. They're reused. They're thrown away deliveries. Anyway, so that's what that picture is about. There's an awful lot going on with Amazon. It's crazy. Just think of it. You want something, you can dial it right up on Amazon, and you can find it, and get it delivered, soon. It's like amazing. Oh, there we go. I'm on the left, and my iPad is on the right. Time Magazine. What happens if he wins? There's a fairly decent chance he will win, even with this legal election interference stuff. Democratic, these attorney jurisdictions are trying to get him so busy with court cases and hearings that he won't have time to campaign. He's got 3 o'clock today. He has a rally in Wisconsin, and at 6 o'clock he's got another rally uh, in Michigan somewhere, I think. So he's got his own plane, so he just hops on a plane, and boogies over to Michigan. Another rally. He's going to hit. So today he's going to have 2 rallies. No court today for some reason. So they're only off Wednesday. I guess this week he's off Monday and Wednesday. So he figured, okay, let's book a couple of rallies. There's one in Michigan. I saw the news, right? There's one. Let's see, let's go to RSBN. Excuse me. There you go, there's a little icon right there. RSBN, right side. The right side broadcasting. Look at my pillow guy right there. Hit the button down here that says live.
But when you take a look at what Speaker Johnson has done, it was against the funding of the war in Ukraine and rejected $300 million when he was not Speaker. And then, of course, now he's approved $61+ billion to go to the Ukraine, something that's very much against the base and what the base wants. And then, of course, with the warrants,
that's if I want to play
the warrant, the FISA, all of that surrounding the injustices that has happened against Americans. Speaker Johnson, time and time again, has, in my opinion, and many of you watching right now, has really let down the Republican Party. That we have a responsibility right now to get that house in order so that when President Trump comes into office of January of 2025, he is going to a Congress, a Republican-held Congress with the majority, God willing, in the Senate, that will promote his agenda and get things done. That is priority number one. It is to make sure that all the hard work right now President Trump is doing on the road and winning over the American people, that we have the right leadership in Congress, Republican leadership, that can make sure this America First agenda is pushed forward. And that's exactly what this effort is by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie. And so I'm thinking we're going to see a vote next week. I don't know the day, and we'll see how that turns out. Now, so if you want to get involved with that, I know that was one of the last questions at the press conference, was to simply contact your representative and ask them, do they stand with
curious. I can't hear it anywhere. Oh, it stopped it. Yeah. Play. Where's the play button? Maybe I have to start it up again. Hang in there. Don't go away now. Just going to do it again. Go to live.
There's a book that you can read all about it. FreeTrumpBook.com. FreeTrumpBook.com.
Move my microphone over here.
Website. Information there.
There you go. Now you can hear
it. Great illustration.
How cool is that? Let's see if I plug it in. What happens?
Easy to read. I recommend you get it for your grandkids, your kids. Drop one off at the church, local school. Go check it out. FreeTrumpBook.com. Yeah. Great publication there.
For some reason, the sound doesn't come through. So I'll unplug it again. Do I have to restart it? Yeah, it froze. So we're going to shut it down. Hit RSBN again. It's live TV, folks. So
Trump there in Wisconsin.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
So you can see it there.
President Trump is here, and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets a free issue of Everbright Kids magazine and a free video lesson. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
So,
what's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I'm the host of the Let It Be Heard show here on RSBN channel. I would love for you guys to check me out.
That's cool,
on Spotify, Apple
RSBN.
Music, Apple Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube.
If you want to find it, you can find it on your iPhone, iPad.
Culture, Bible,
you can
social
AirPlay
issues,
it right up into your TV.
Politics, current events,
if you want to watch
anything.
it on, just
so if
on
you're
your...
into any of that stuff, I highly recommend you check me out. God bless you guys, and stay.
Anyway, so that's what's happening with Trump at 3 o'clock. He's going to be on RSBN. I'll slide this over here so you can hear me, which of course you can hear me. And we'll turn back. Epidemic sound instrumental that which we have. You know, this is a Simulcast where we're broadcasting this program on 3 different social networks simultaneously. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, which I just learned is just signed up for YouTube. You know, the premium YouTube service, so I can broadcast on them, with them, through them. And so Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And all 3 of those networks are absorbing the signal and putting it on their networks, in theory, forever. So you can see up on this streaming thing up on the top of my broadcasts. We produce broadcasts from our downtown office. Our downtown studio. My little studio here that's 6 feet wide, 24 inches deep, and 24 inches behind me. I got a Cardezza behind me with a printer on there that says I need black toner, and I don't. I put a new toner in there, and it still says I need a black toner. And now it says I'm out of black toner, and I'm not. I've just put a new one in there. And so there's something wrong with the printer. And I've turned it off, I've turned it on, I've banged it around a little bit. Something I have to take everything off of the top of that printer and open that sucker wide open. And take all the cartridges out. You know, then put it all back together again and see it. You know, all the king's men go back in place. Recognize the fact that I got a new toner cartridge. Put the new toner cartridge in on the other printer. I got 2 brother printers. They're working like champs. One's down, one works. So the other one is Maryland's printer. I got to go up and go over to the other half of this office suite, which is the den in our downtown apartment. That's split in half. She has 24 inches of it. I got the other 24. It's a 6 foot by 4 foot table, see? So I put a blue line down the middle. I said, that half is yours. This half is mine. So I have my little studio thing, soundboard over here, my Rodecaster Pro. I got my Apple computer right here, which is a beautiful, I guess a 15-inch, an M2 chip in it. And it runs really cool. The chips are up here on the top of these things. It's just 4 or 5 degrees warmer over on this side than it is over on this side. I have a backup MacBook Pro underneath the coffee table in the living room, which I use if I have to take a computer to a business meeting. If I need a computer take my trusty iPad because this is like it has all the access to the internet and all that stuff. It's got its own data line built in. $130 extra on the iPad to have its own data line right in the iPad. Pay $10 a month to AT&T to have that data line there. Like up and down bandwidth. Oh, that's billing stuff. Crazy world we live in. So there you go. There's my flipboard. Let's go back to the front and go that way. See what the headlines are now. Fed could make a big change today. They're not talking about interest rates. I wonder what they are going to talk about. The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season storm names just been published. Is your name on the list? No. We can go to my hurricane map and see if they have any information on the storm names. No storms in the whole Atlantic thing. It'll show you. It names them automatically. Uh, uh, some satellite. There's Caribbean. Satellite. True color. So this is the actual visible light radar right now, taken from that satellite. So there's nothing brewing. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you just sit here and see what stuff. I have another app that's called Radar. My Radar. There it is. So this shows the globe. Look at this. You see the whole planet? And I can just do with my finger, just move the planet around. Oh, there we are. See the little blue dot? And I can just zero in on that little blue dot, and I can see if there's any rain. See this little thing in the, there's some high winds up around there. It's an aviation layer, and they've got airplanes flying around. They're going to avoid that area. Just like they're going to avoid this Valdosta area. Got some goofy storms coming through the middle of the country. There they are, see? See all this lightning? That funnel system that's coming through, moving at 19 miles, coming through Little Rock, Fort Smith. I don't see any tornado. Tornadoes would show up on this right. So let's track this down and rotate the globe. Can you believe this? I mean, this is like crazy. All right, what's coming off the coast of Africa? Nothing. You see, it's quiet. Hurricane season hasn't started yet. Hey, June, you get into hurricanes. So you got a little disturbance right here. The clouds are going the wrong way. But so we can zero in on the Caribbean, San Martin's, Barbados. Uh, we can zero in a little tighter, Barbados. Look at this. You can zoom on this, and we can see where the airport is. Uh, the cities, the islands are modern. It's crazy. I don't see any big airports in Barbados. You know, should. And one Puerto Rico, getting a little. Santo Domingo is getting a little rain right now. Clouds moving, and then I got about an hour of future radar. It doesn't actually show the lightning for the future. So, give up. I'm away. Country club. I'm away. Well, I'm away. Parents were there. Very nice. Luxurious golf course. We had a lady that was signed to Jimmy in the retail business. He was some come away. This gentleman. He treated the world. Please, just treat me like a regular person. Treat me like your brother, let's say, but not royalty. Someone, someone nice that you like, and I'll try to be nice to you. So he's willing not. I swear to God, he treated me like he would drive me anywhere I wanted. He would do. He was like a sign to me, so I kept him with me. No matter where I went. He took care of me where I was going. Okay, so it's pretty dry. What would it tell? We got some in Pompano. We seem to have a blue circle indicates power outage. So it must be there must have been some electrical storm that came through there and loused up the power. But we can click on there and we can find out from FPNL what's out and why. Anyway, notice these uh, the first couple miles inside of Boca Raton. You see that's now highlighted, and that means there's something going on. This all down the coast. The blue circles, the blue dot is where I am. Here, see the blue dot right there. See it? It's Boca Raton. That's where I'm where that blue dot just east of Fiddle Highway, 2 blocks south of Fiddle Highway. Oh, this is 101, so in theory, 1 block 1 block east of Federal Highway, 2 blocks south of Main and Main is Road. And, uh, I'm putting crosshairs right. That would be Main and Main. And we're a little bit southeast of Main and Main. Louis Bassi is right in the corner with Hyatt Place apartment building. A 5-story building, 6-story building. No, 7, an 8-story building. And Louis Bassi is on the ground floor, along with the hotel lobby. If you stay in that hotel, you got Louis Bassi right down from your lobby. Pretty great. All right. Not for me to have lunch. How about you? Tune in 3 o'clock RSBN broadcast on Trump's speech he's going to give in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. See what he's got to say. He's probably got a lot to say about what's going on with these colleges. And he's probably going to say, we cannot have this. We must not have any group of people discriminating against other students, like Jewish students. Can you imagine? They're discriminating against Jewish students, and the presidents of these universities are basically doing nothing for 2 weeks? Really? They're scaring these students? And, you know, these schools, like in New York City, God, let me get out. Here you go. Columbia. Yes. Cops finally arrest Jewish rioters, the anti-Jewish rioters. The president of the university, they're banging in the doors. Uh, That's one of the oldest universities in the United States. Started in 1741, I believe. And it was called King's College. And then changed its name in 1912 to Columbia. Right here, 1754. Founded 1754. King's College. Became Columbia University in 1912. That's what it looked like. 1754. King's College. Here's a picture of what it looks like. The front looks like today. Alexander Hamilton building. They're banging in the windows, from a historic place. Is dirtbags. Hate the Jews. The poor Jews, they've been chased all over the planet. Mother used to say, I started off with it. I have not seen the house. I used to teach high school math, biology, chemistry, mostly math, and general science and math. I was a math teacher. I was a math teacher because there was a shortage of math teachers. I had a minor in math, but I took a lot of math. and I was, pretty good at math. So I taught algebra, geometry, trigonometry, advanced algebra, pre-calculus, not basic math. Not going to teach basic math. So the principal of my school went at that young, they're like 22 years old or whatever, and teaching Florida, my first teaching deal. I said, Mr. Whatever his name was. I said, if you don't mind, I'd like to teach algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and advanced algebra. Give me 2 classes of algebra, 2 classes of geometry, and a couple of classes of trigonometry. What do I teach? 6, 7 classes a day. Have a couple study halls for a 9-period day. He said, yeah. He said, you got to do a lesson plan for each one of these topics. Of course, if you teach 2 classes of algebra, you only need 1 lesson plan. You can teach, both classes the same lesson plan. Every day you got to have a lesson. I said, that's fine. So you'll have 4 lesson plans. Everybody else, they take 1 class and teach it 4 or 5 times. I said, but how boring is that? Same thing over and over and over again all day. Got to mix it up with a couple of extra classes. So how about 3? He said, all right. I did 2 algebra, 2 geometry, and I think 2 trigonometry. So that was my 6 classes, 2 of each. First period, third period, fourth period, fifth period. These periods, you had 9 periods in a day, right? Yeah. He said, all right, you got 3 lesson plans. I said, all right, that's good. He said, well, that makes it a lot easier for me to coordinate everybody. He goes, yeah. I said, good. That makes it convenient. I'd rather have 3. What? Imagine teaching algebra all day long. Oh my gosh, I go crazy. By the time I get to my last, the time I do it in a day. He said, but you only have 1 lesson plan. I said, that's okay. I don't mind having 3 lesson plans every day. I'll do the whole week. Anyway, I'm not going to do 1 a day. I'll do the whole week. Give you the whole lesson plan on Monday morning for the entire week, all 3 classes. That's great. I don't think I can get everybody else to do that. I said, well, that's fine. I said, do you want me not to do that? He said, no, you do that. You'll be a trendsetter. Perfect. He said, you kids are easy to get along with. These older teachers, they're stuck on their ways. And tough to have them give me a whole week's lesson plan up front. I said, well, otherwise they give you a lesson plan every morning. He said, yeah. Now, Monday morning, I'll give you the entire week for all 3 classes. 192 days, $6,922. Divided by 10, right? 10 months out of the year. And then you get 2 months off. So, it was roughly 10. Yeah, so $6,900, $6,900. Divide that by 10, that's $690 a month. That's what I made a month. And then take taxes, so it's $600 a month. That's how I started out in the year 1492. No, that was let's see, 1968, 69, something like that. South Florida. I had my choice: South Florida or um, Ashtabula, right outside of Cleveland, Ohio. Ashtabula, Ohio, just east of Cleveland, Ohio. I had a girlfriend at the time going to Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio. I figured, all right, well, maybe I'll teach high school math in Ashtabula. They actually offered me a teaching contract there, and I didn't take it. She went there, and I just, really, I'm just going to teach in Florida, and she can visit me if she wants to. King's College. King's College opened its very first medical school. First one to offer an MD degree, 1767. During the American Revolution, the growth of the school came to a halt. Alexander Hamilton, some of the school trustees were John J. Alexander Hamilton, Governor Morris, Robert R. Livingston, who were all very important figures in early American life in the United States. King's College, established in 1764, now Columbia. And this weekend we saw Columbia being torn up by Hezbollah financed ruffians. They were beating up on the Jews, scaring them, the Jews, the young Jewish sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They canceled graduation. This is like test week right now. Graduation. This is like test week right now. Well, now we see in the news here that the anti-Jewish getting after Fordham University. Many Jews now are going after the Jews in Fordham because the police basically threw out all the bad guys from Columbia. They arrested 500 of them in jail. Hope they keep them in jail for away. UCLA in Los Angeles last night. Total disrupted the entire UCLA campus. LA. Big head over there in the background. Last night. Uh, a ship show? A show? No. A bad show. They're throwing rocks and beating each other over the head with boards. They're aiming fireworks to people. And they were doing this all over the country. All the blue states had trouble. The red states said, you do things like that, you're going directly to jail, and you ain't getting out right away. So the ones they locked up in Florida and in Texas are still in jail. So they have a hearing, in a week. They pull their heels in the jail 10 days before they get out. Most bond. New York City, they let them out the same day. Well, then they go back out and they start banging each other over the heads with boards again. Now it's like a revolving door. The police look around and say, what the hell am I arresting these guys for? If you're going to process them and let them out the back doors, same day. Slow down. Let them stay in jail for a week. You have your choice. Here's the president of Colombia, lady. And Colombia president Ministry Suffolk facing mounting calls to resign. Her failure to rein in anti-Israel protesters on campus. I saw her thing. She's a waste of time. This is the front page of the New York Post on last week, on April 23rd. So that was after the first week. Look at all these people. Anti-Jewish, yeah, terrible. See, these schools for the last 20 years have been touting this racism, for 20 years. Yeah. No flags in the classroom, no pledge of allegiance to the United States of America. They didn't have the discipline that I remember when I was in the university. Now, I taught, been on the faculty at FAU for 24 years. Since 2000, 2003, officially 2003. I've been teaching at FAU since 2000. And I became faculty in the College of Science in October of 2003. Had a book published in late 2003 with FAU inside the front cover. It was like published authors. Really? Harlan told me, to take the record. You published a book the fastest of any other faculty member because you published a book, a nice one, within 18 days of being put on the faculty. No one has ever published a book within 18 days of being put on the faculty. It took me 700 hours to write the book. I wrote it, I did all the graphics, did it all myself. I did the cover, I did the back cover, I did the front cover and the back cover, inside the front cover, inside the back cover. All that graphics was tools used in the class, I thought, which was Principles of Digital Photography. You can look that up. Pearson Education, 2003. Principles of Digital Photography and Post-Image Processing. It's a big, long name. That was the name of the class also. It was a popular class back 20 years ago before digital was in the mainstream. People want to know how to do it. Well, I didn't know how to do it, so I taught them how to do it. That I can show you that no one else has. All right, big fellas, let's call it an evening. And hopefully the university system can start reining in all this systematic stuff at these campuses of 30 or 40 of our prize educational. New York Police Department arrests more than 200 protesters at Columbia. Finally, President University. All right, you better rein it in before they start tearing the buildings apart. And they were. Last night they started tearing the buildings. These came in and within 2.5 hours, they cleaned it up like unbelievable. Since it's private property, the police just can't go in there and do anything without the president saying, okay, come on in, we need help. She let it go for 2 weeks. And the bad guys, just took advantage of it. The weak, liberal, blue state, blue city, blue versus red. Blue for liberal and red for conservative. All right, I'm done. 2 hours and 4 seconds. I wish you have a marvelous afternoon, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning. Hopefully by, before 10. Gotta have a time. Well, I couldn't do it until about noon. Tomorrow I'll try to get it like uh, between 9 and 10. Could be as early as 9. You guys have a great afternoon. I'm gonna go to the little room, and then I'm gonna get my lunch ready. Munching on my lunch, and tune in on the RSBN network. Watch the Trump rally in Waukesha, Wisconsin. How about that? I used to live up around there. I was a young whippersnapper in the mid 70s in Wisconsin. And then I lived in Kansas City. And then I came back to, I think Pompano. We opened up, built some stores in Cleveland, Ohio, and some stores in Minnesota. Then came back to Florida. Retail experience with World Associates. So Kennedy and Cohen, major appliance stores, big ones, 40,000 square feet. Wires, ranges, color TVs, stereos, console TVs back in the day. These big pieces of furniture made out of pecan wood. I remember the Sylvania TVs, really top of the line TVs. I sold the heck out of those big consoles with the pecan everywhere with pecan wood. I don't know what it was about Sylvania. They were noted for their pecan wood uh, console TVs. So I remember pecan. Beautiful, beautiful piece of furniture. Anyway, so you all have a good afternoon, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. And I'll give you 30 seconds of uninterrupted Epidemic Sound instrumental, which is our royalty-free. I'm allowed to broadcast it, rebroadcast it, because it's royalty-free broadcast, and that was without specific permissions. Like if it was, a hit song, you'd have to get a hold of the song publisher and get permission to use it on your show. Epidemic Sound instrumental, published it, I can use it, and it's royalty free. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great afternoon. Bye bye.